Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over some updated wildcard drafts for Game Week 7 in response to the news this week that Tuchel's been sacked and Brighton and Crystal Palace being postponed in Game Week 8. It is a blank for them, so there has to be adjustments for the wildcard drafts that I made earlier this week. So if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment, are you wildcarding this week, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, just like the video I made earlier this week, there's going to be two wildcard drafts in today's video, one without Salah and one with Salah. The first draft is without Salah, and the keepers are still the same. We've got Iverson and Pope in goal. I still think that Pope is the best option for the next like 5-6 game weeks. Of course, he does have West Ham away this weekend, but I know that Sanchez has Bournemouth, but he's then blanking in Game Week 8, so there's not really any need to have Sanchez now on a wildcard draft because, again, you're going to be without any keeper in Game Week 8. I mean, you can probably have Iverson or Ward, but, you know, basically no keeper because Leicester can't keep a clean sheet to save their life. They're only going to get you like 1 or 0 points anyway. So the only options now really are Pope and Raya for Brentford. So either way, I think Pope is the better option. So they're the keepers. The back line, we've changed to Dalot, James, Trent, Cancelo, and Trippier. I think Dalot is a decent option for Crystal Palace and then Leeds. And then when he has like City, you could just downgrade him to Fofana, who will then have like Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Villa. But either way, Crystal Palace and Leeds, I think, are two nice fixtures for Dalot. He's cheap as well, 4.5. You know, he's cemented into that back line for United, and they're playing a lot better now as well. That they seem to have sorted it out at the back. They've sorted it out in midfield, up front. You know, they look like a different team. So I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing 1 or 2 United players in now, especially with the fixtures they've got. You know, Crystal Palace, Leeds. Yeah, City's a tough one. But I mean, they've been known to beat City in the past. It could be a little bit of a bogey situation there. And then they've got Everton and Newcastle. So not the worst fixtures. We've got James as well. I know that Tuchel's just been sacked. And we don't really know how they're going to line up now under Graham Potter. I think it's basically been confirmed now by Fabrizio that, you know, Potter is going to be the new Chelsea manager. I don't even think that Potter's going to be in charge of Brighton for the Bournemouth game this weekend. So I don't really know what's going to go on there. I don't think he'll be in charge for the Fulham game with Chelsea. He could be in charge for the Liverpool game, which is not a great first game to take charge of. But after that, they've got Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Villa. It's a tough one because you don't really know how he's going to set up. You don't want to be bringing like a ton of Chelsea players just simply because, you know, you don't know how they're going to set up. Apart from players like James and Sterling, you know who's definitely going to play. It's a little bit more around like Cucurella and Chilwell. You don't really know who's going to play out of those two. You don't know who the centre backs are going to be, etc. So yeah, you kind of have to wait for a little bit more information there. I've gone Trent as well. I mean, I don't know. I watched the Champions League game last night, and Trent was just awful. Like, honestly, one of the worst games I've seen him play. And they've got some tough fixtures coming up. So if you didn't want Trent in this draft, completely understandable. You could downgrade to somebody else. I mean, the Arsenal defense, you could. I mean, they do have Everton and Brentford, but then they've got Tottenham and Liverpool, and then Leeds. So they do have 2 tough fixtures coming up. I guess you could bench him for when they play Tottenham and Liverpool, but it's just who else are you going to play in that fixture. Gone Cancelo as well. You could downgrade him to Diaz if you wasn't really a fan of Cancelo, but I don't know. I watched him in the Champions League game that Walker didn't play. I think Cancelo played on the right. He just looked like a different player. Like, he's so much better on the right. Walker is out. I don't know for how long. I don't think he's going to be back for this weekend. He might miss next weekend too. We'll have to wait and see Pep's comments. But yeah, if Cancelo plays on the right, he's going to be a different player. So I don't think you should get rid of him at the moment. I know Spurs is going to be a tough game, but then they've got Wolves and stuff, and, you know, he could definitely get a haul in that. And then Trippier as well, you know, double Newcastle defense, I think is the way forward for the next 5 or 6 game weeks for sure. Probably up until you get like your unlimited transfers in game week 17, I do believe it is, for the World Cup. Either way though, that's the back line. Midfield has changed a bit as well now. Martinelli, Sumer, we've got Rashford in here as well, Sterling and Andreas Pereira. Again, Sterling, I don't think loses his spot under Graham Potter. I think he's still going to be fine. Rashford, again, he seems to just be the player that's going to be up front for United now. He's just playing there instead of Ronaldo and stuff like that. So I think there was, I think he was taken off early for like fatigue and stuff like that. We'll have to see if he starts in the game tonight, because obviously I'm recording this before the European game. So yeah, we'll see if he starts. If he's like not even in the squad, then obviously you don't want to have Rashford in your team. But if he's fine, he's playing, then yeah, it's going to be great. I think like a lot of people have brought him in this week as well. I think like over 700,000 people. I'm surprised he's not had a price rise yet. But actually, I think he might have went up to 6.5. But either way, Martinelli's there as well. Just one of the best options at that price point as well. So that's the midfield. And then up top, because we don't have Salah now, we've got Mitrovic, Kane, and Haaland. I just have enough for this draft. I've got 0 in the bank, so I don't know if you'll be able to afford this, give or take like 0.1 mil. But yeah, I don't know. I quite like this draft, having Kane, Haaland, Sterling. And then you've still got your premium defenders as well, in like James, Trent, and Cancelo. It just works, and I think it is better having all of these separately good players than just having Salah. Salah just isn't really with it at the moment. He wasn't really too good in the Champions League game last night either. The only bad thing about this is you can't afford Mitrovic or Isaac. You can't afford Tony or Isaac. You have to go Mitrovic. But I don't think there's anything really wrong with going with Mitrovic either. You know, apart from the Chelsea game, which again he could still score in. They've got nice fixtures after. They've got Forest, Newcastle might be tough, West Ham, Bournemouth, Villa, Leeds, Everton, City, Man United, and Crystal Palace. So you could pretty much hold him until like game week 19 if you really like. He can score in any of these fixtures, like even City away. Like, yeah, that's a tough fixture. He's not going to get a lot of the ball, but you know, off a corner or something or a set piece, he could easily score. And then yeah, Kane and Haaland in this team as well. I know they play each other this weekend, but they're both strikers, so it doesn't matter about that. But that's the wildcard draft without Salah. I do like it. You've got your United. It's got no Arsenal apart from Martinelli, but again, their fixtures do change a little bit. It's only got one Liverpool player, which is quite interesting, but you know, Liverpool have got tough fixtures coming up, and you know, they just don't seem to be playing that well at the moment. Chelsea, I think it could be good. It could be a good time to jump on Chelsea if Potter does sort it out. He does like wing backs and stuff like that, so we'll have to see how like James plays under him. We'll have to see if he chooses Cucurella or Chilwell. I don't know if there was like a situation between him and Cucurella when Cucurella left. No idea, so I don't know if that's going to upset him or change anything there. And then yeah, we'll have to see if Fofana plays as well. If Fofana plays every game, then yeah, he could be a really good option as well at like 4.4. And again, you can just go to Fofana from Dallo around game week 9 when they play City away. So that's the first draft without Salah. We'll just quickly go over the draft with Salah. Not a massive change, to be fair. We've obviously got Pope and Ward in goal now. Still Dallo at the back. Again, I still like the idea of going from Dallo to Fofana around game week 9 when Chelsea obviously have Crystal Palace, Wolves, Villa, and then Brentford, United, Brighton. I still think that's okay for a double Chelsea defence there. I mean, you don't have to play both James and Fofana. You can literally just play James, and then you know, Fofana can just be a bench option until they play like a good fixture. Still got Trent, Cancelo, Trippier, Martinelli. We've got Reed and Andres Pereira this time. Salah is obviously in the draft because it's a Salah draft, and then you've got Rashford in midfield as well. And then up top you've got Tony, Mitrovic, and Haaland. But again, you could easily go Isaac as well. Is it Isaac? I don't know. I think I was calling him Ivac in the last video. I get his name wrong all the time, and I shouldn't, because it's actually really easy to pronounce. It's only 4 letters long. But yeah, I mean, I still quite like this up front though, like Tony, Mitrovic, and Haaland. Like, you've got to ask yourself about Salah is like, if you're like getting rid of Salah this week, you have to like just ask your question, where are you going to put the funds? Because if you're not going to bring in somebody like Kane, who's obviously an expensive player, or like De Bruyne or something like that, then is it really worth getting rid of him? Because you can still have Tony, Mitrovic, or Isaac and Mitrovic, or Isaac and Tony, or whatever, and still have Salah in your team. Because this team still has 1 mil in the bank. So if you didn't want to go Mitrovic, you wanted to go Isaac instead, then you could literally have him, Tony, and Haaland. Like, I don't know. Like, I think you should only really get rid of Salah if you know you want to bring in another big player. Because with this draft as well, instead of having like Kane and Rashford, you could bring in De Bruyne in midfield. Hang on, I've got it set on midfield. You could bring in De Bruyne in midfield instead of Kane up front, and that still leaves you like 5.7 at the top. So you could probably downgrade, I don't know, like Trent to I guess an Arsenal defender if you really wanted to, if you just didn't want Liverpool at all because you're not like happy with how they're playing at all. Could bring in Gabriel, who's obviously got 2 nice fixtures coming up, and then you got 8.1 in the bank. You could easily bring in, you know, Isaac or Tony or someone like that, and then that's still decent. You've got your De Bruyne in there as well. You got Haaland. You still got a good up front. Like I say, Isaac, Mitrovic, and Tony have good fixtures coming up. I don't know if Isaac's on pens. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed or not, but you know, Mitrovic and Tony are. The only bad thing about this is obviously there's no Liverpool players, but you've got 1.1 mil in the bank. You could bring in, like, if let's just say that Potter is playing Chilwell instead of Cucurella, you could just have Chilwell and James in this draft. You know, 0.4 mil still in the bank. You could do something like that if you wanted to. Again, we'll have to see how good they are under Potter, but again, there's not really anything with this draft either, and you know, just getting Trent allows you to bring in De Bruyne, Chilwell if he's going to start, and then you've still got Isaac as well as like a backup for Kane. So yeah, I don't know. It is really depending if you want to go, like, you still got 3 up there. You'd probably play like 3. You'd probably play 4-3-3, and you could have like, you know, double Chelsea defense if they've got a good fixture, or you could bring in Dalot for like Leeds and stuff, and then, you know, your 3 midfielders are going to be Martinelli, De Bruyne, and Sterling, which is a pretty good midfield, and then Mitrovic, Isaac, or Tony, and then Haaland up top, which is a good up front as well. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Salah out is kind of, I don't know, it's the way forward potentially, but you just have to understand where you're going to put those funds. Like, you only really need to get rid of Salah if you're going to bring in like a De Bruyne or a Kane. If you're not going to, it's probably not really worth taking him out, just simply because you can afford other good strikers that are going to get you points this week that have got good fixtures and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it's a tough one, but that's kind of an updated wildcard draft for game week 7. I know a lot of people are going to be playing at game week 8 because a lot of people do have like a ton of Brighton players like Sanchez, Dunk, Gross. A lot of people bought in McAllister this week. They've got Veltman, Webster, whatever. So probably a lot of wildcards going to be played next week. But either way, that's everything for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Are you wildcarding this week? What are your thoughts on these wildcards? Subscribe if you're brand new. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.